So just to sort of get it started, these are right out of our curriculum document. And from a student perspective, we know that the students are looking to progress their own learning. We want to embed what we call a growth mindset, which is instead of saying, I can't do it, I'm not there yet, I can still do it. So I may not feel that I'm doing a great job with my math, but I know I can learn it. And simply having that mindset and believing that I can change what I know and get better at it is half the battle. So that's what we are wanting for our students, and that's the responsibility of our students. And to pursue outside the classroom to extend and enrich your understanding of mathematics, right out of our curriculum document. For a parent, what we're wanting from our parents is simply to support that learning at home, to be involved at home when you can, and this homework help offers an opportunity for that, to become familiar with the curriculum. We're not asking parents and guardians to remember everything that may have happened in grade 7 to 12 even, math, but just to be familiar a little bit with it and to engage in conversations. One of the resources that I can share with you is, what are some of those questions that we want to ask our students and our kids as they come home to see, just to get them thinking in a critical way. That's the role of the parent. Very quickly, in elementary school, from grades 1 to 8, the strands remain the same. So these are the 5 key, the big ideas, the overall objectives in grade 1 to 8 mathematics. So they go through number, sense, enumeration, measurement, all of these different strands, but they change once you get to secondary school, so they shift a little bit. Those 5 overall expectations become 4, what we call strands. So the number sense, instead of number sense enumeration, it becomes number sense in algebra. And we're happy to share this whole presentation with you. So we'll give you the link at the end, and that way you can have a look at this at home as well. And there's links in there that'll get you to different documents. Linear relations, which is a lot of graphing stuff, analytic geometry in some of the grade 9 courses, and then still the measurement, the area, the volume, that stuff. So it does shift a little bit. Those are the overviews. Yeah, you don't have to leave that part. So in grade 9, one thing to recognize is we do offer different options for grade 9. There's a grade 9 academic course and there's a grade 9 applied. And so the strands are very similar, different approach to learning, but great options, and you'd be looking at the needs of your student and what's going to best fit your student there. Same thing in grade 10. So, traditional or typical or stereotypical student trying to do math and sweat and tears doesn't have to look like this. In fact, it shouldn't look like this. If it's looking like this, then we've got some more work to do. And homework help is available to support that. Yes,
back aside. So
of course.
I'm sure all of you had math experiences with or homework experiences with your child. I always think of I'm a math teacher. I teach grade 7 to 12. I'm a math person. I always think of the time when my daughter came home in grade 4 and she showed me math homework and she said, I have this problem. I figured out, the teacher says this is how much I have to pay in a month. And the question is now I have to figure out how much I have to pay in a week. She goes, so I just divide by 4, right? And I said, well, actually no, because then that's 4 times 12, which is 48 weeks. And how many weeks do you have in the year? And she's like, well, 52. I said, so it doesn't really work, right? She's like, well, actually, no, Mom, it does work that way because that's what the teacher told me. And I'm like, well, honey, I am a math teacher. I have taught this before. I've actually done these problems. I can assure you that no, we need to do 52 weeks because that's how many. And so back and forth. And I said, you know what? You go ahead, you do your 48 weeks. You're convinced. And then the next day, she comes home home from school, and I'm like, do I say to her, was I right? And I'm like, do I take the high road and not say anything? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to ask her. So, was I right? And she looks at me, she goes, yeah. So, going forward now, my daughter and I have an interesting relationship around homework. She asks me sometimes and doesn't. But I'm thinking just like, that's with me as a math teacher, knowing how to do it. Everyone has experiences. You may know the math. You may not know the math. So what we have that is available, that when you're at home with your child doing the homework, we have what's called a homework help. So homework help is it's developed by the Ministry of Education. It is developed by TVO, like TV Ontario. So in combination with the ministry, they do this website, and it's called Homework Help, and it's available for grades 7 to 10. It's free. You can talk to your math teacher, and she can help you set your students up with it. It has a bunch of things, but I'm just going to kind of go through it. So what it is there's interactive tutorials. There's live interactive tutorials, but there's also saved interactive tutorials. There's a bunch of videos. It's for grades 7 to 10. There's also glossary of terms, and there's a calculator, and there's also what's called a locker. So when a student goes in, if they've gone in and talked to the tutor, that you can save their session, but also if they have gone and visited someone else's session, they can save that session as well. It's called the locker. So there's lots of stuff available to them. It's supported by the Ministry of Education, which I said registration's super easy. It's just based on their using their Halton username and password, the OEN. It's free. And the other thing I like about it is that it's anonymous. And what I mean is that I was a tutor in the Homework Help, and I had a tutor name. I can't remember what it was. This was a couple years ago. It was something probably like Math is Amazing or whatever my name was. And I have that's my name. So when a student comes in and they go into this room, like a virtual room, and they can look for a tutor. And then they go and line up. The first time they could do different tutors all the time, or they could say, oh, I like Mr. Fix-It is one of the tutors' names I was looking online. They could keep going back to the same tutor if they like the way that tutor teaches. And for the students, so a lot of times they don't want to feel like they're asking a question that might be silly or not a good question. It's anonymous for the student too. So a tutor will just see student 11 or student 2, so they don't have the student's name. So it's anonymous for a student as well. And other students don't see each other, so you can ask and know that nobody knows who I am. I'm going in, I'm asking my question, and I'm meeting with a tutor that's going to help me walk through it. So like I said, it's grades 7 to 10. Anyone who's enrolled in math in any of the school boards in Ontario. So the other thing that's in there, so you have your tutor, so to ask the tutor, there's what's called best sessions. So the ministry has gone in and actually even saved some of these tutorials, these actually live tutorials, so students can go in and find old sessions that has been done with the tutor interacting with the student. They have what's called listen and learn, which are just lessons. So you can go in and find a lesson about something specific that you're having trouble with in math. And also they have interactive tutorials. So it is that you're learning something and then you have a chance to answer some questions and you get immediate feedback. So there's a bunch of different things that are on this site. So it's available. So this is what I like about this too. It's not available on the weekend. Well, I should say it's not available Friday, Saturday, but it's available Sunday to Thursday from 5:30 to 9:30, which is when kids are starting to do their homework and realize they maybe didn't quite understand what they learned that day. Or they're doing a homework question that wasn't covered by the teacher because, you know, math teachers like to do this. It's like, here, I've taught you something, but you're going to try something like what you learned, but not quite. All sessions are recorded and monitored. They ask for feedback, and you can actually, there's tons of feedback from students. I was looking through them yesterday, and there was like, so if there's a tutor that, for example, that you love, you can give feedback about that, or if you want to give constructive feedback about this, maybe something that didn't go as well as you hoped in the tutor, in the session, you can give feedback for that. And the sessions are unique for each student, so it's, because it's interactive when you're online. You are coming in and you say to the tutor, I have a question about this, and then they work with you and work through the problems one-on-one. We could, okay, I'll just go through. So these are math teachers. So going back a bit, these are actual math teachers that are tutors. These are Ontario qualified teachers. For the most part, they are teaching. So like I was teaching secondary and I did this at night. Or there's retired teachers, but they are all qualified teachers. So this is something that, so they are used to working with kids. They're used to the struggles that kids have with certain issues. They know how to ask certain types of questions. They know how to figure out where the gap is. Because sometimes it's that you're not getting that problem because there's something key that you haven't learned yet or you've forgotten about. They know what common mistakes kids make in these problems, so it really helps students because they've experienced this, right? They've been in the classroom with the students. So this is what a session looks like. So how it works is, should I play it? Yeah. I'm going to explain it. Actually, I'll just do a quick review and we'll watch a bit of it. So here's a student, right? So anonymous student and tutor. Usually, like I said, the tutors have a name. So you know which, you can come back to that tutor if you really like them. This is the student writing, the blue, and this is the teacher writing. Teacher writing is a little bit neater because all the tutors get like a write on tablet thing that they get, so they can do a little bit neater writing. And these typically, if a student doesn't have a write on surface or something, it's them writing with a mouse, so it's a little bit messier. There's two ways that you can interact with your teacher, the tutor. It's either typing, which this one is a typing one, but there's also audio one. So you could, the tutor's talking. So there's two different types. You can go into a session, you can go to a room and pick one that actually is an audio one, so you can hear them speaking, or you can go to one that's just typing. And how it works is you log into the site, to the homework help site, and you go into a queue. And when a room is available, and this is a room, so what I would do is I logged into the homework help, and I had my room, my virtual room, and I just waited for somebody, a student, to show up, and then they would ask me the question. So this is the question here, and then I would just start working with them one-on-one, going back and forth, asking them questions, trying to work through, what are you not getting, and then I could also see, so this is a student, and I could have multiple students, because not only can you sit there and ask the tutor questions, you can kind of sit there and watch someone else's. So it's like, if I see this, oh, I'm going through and I go into this room and I go, oh, wait a minute, I have this question too. You can just watch the tutor work with that student, right? So you can hop from room to room, or you can wait if you have a specific question and you just have to wait in a queue. And when the room opens up, so you can say, give me any room, I just want the first tutor available because I just need someone to answer the question, or you can go into the specific tutor's queue and wait for that room to be available. Sometimes there's a wait because it depends on how busy the night. Sunday nights was typically really busy because everyone went out there homework till Sunday night. But it really, yeah, it also depends on how long the question takes. But you could always hop to look, because I'm trying to remember. I think that you could see how many kids were in a queue in the room. Anyway, so let me just do. You can just watch it for a few minutes. We'll just show you what it looks like. Oh wait.
Escape out of the present.
Oh wait, no.
Oh.
Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, we'll just keep going.
Okay. Back to present.
Yeah. I'll show you some, we have a link for the class session we can show you. The other great thing about this is what every student has their own locker, and it's limited storage, so every time you go in there you can save. So if you want it, the student goes in there and had that question, they can save that session that they just had with their tutor and go back and look at it on a future date, which is also nice. Or if they see a session that they like that's another student running it, or another student with a different tutor, they can save that session as well. So not only their own sessions, they can save other sessions that they're just watching. Any questions so far? Yes?
Is there a maximum amount of time that one student can have a tutor for?
No.
Really? So they could just take up that tutor's
I've had a session, it was like
wow,
really long. Yeah.
Wow.
For the most part, they're usually, so I would do like a 5:30 to 9:30 shift, and I would usually have maybe like 10 kids in a night. But yeah, I had nights where I was in there for a really long time just because they just need a little extra help. And that's okay. There's not a clock going, you have this much time, quick, get your question in, which is good for the student. But sometimes when, if you're waiting,
it's tough.
right? Yeah, it's tough as a student if you're waiting for them to finish up. Any other questions?
And how many tutors are online at once?
Depends on the night, I think. I'm not sure, because I wouldn't see how many tutors, because I went in as the tutor, so I'm not sure how many. They're really good. So what they do is they're collecting data of usage, and they are hiring based on usage. So they will keep adding tutors as the demand needs, or the needs demand.
And what's the average wait time, do you know?
Once again, it's really how busy it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I was looking through the feedback, and I only saw one student said, I didn't get a chance to see a tutor tonight, first time that's ever happened. So I think for the most part, and I know with me, I had students pop in at like 9:28, and I'm looking going, because I'm like, yeah, you're done, and then I stayed with them. I finished the question, and we were, till like 9:45, whatever, until it was done. But yeah, it's a busy night. Yes.
And I guess, what type, is there a certain computer, or, like I'm thinking we'd have to use a mouse.
Yes.
What is the best kind of setup for?
If a student, like, you get really good at interpreting what students are writing with a mouse, like you saw that writing. It's students. It's a little bit harder for them, and it's more up to them if they're okay with using the mouse. Otherwise, it's some sort of like an iPad or something that's a write on, something that you can actually write on is easier for the kids to get, especially when you're trying to do some of those bigger equations, like when you get into grade 9s and 10s.
And if you have a stylus with the
Yeah, you just need a stylus.
tablet or.
Yes, there's like the Wacom bamboo tablets
Yeah.
that can be attached to a computer, and it has a little stylus. I think they're like $50.
Yeah, there's some smaller ones that are relatively inexpensive if it's something that you find gets used. But as well, there's the typing side too.
Yes.
Like if the mouse isn't working, students can also type in numbers and,
Yes.
and depending on, I suppose, what you're doing, the writing piece may be less or more important.
Yeah, a lot of times the writing was trying to dig down deeper into what the issues with the students, so you're asking them a lot of questions and going back and forth with the students, so you're trying to drill down and figure out what it is that they're not understanding about the question. But yeah, any other questions? Yes?
Are there any issues around the platform, or does it work better with Google Drive versus something on Mac?
I haven't heard of any issues with that. I've never heard of anyone saying I couldn't get on because of the equipment I was using. It's because it's just a website that you go on to.
We're gonna give you an opportunity
To open it up
to try it.
Yeah,
to
because
see
parents
it.
can go in.
Yeah.
You don't to access a tutor, you need a login, but to access all the other free resources, you don't need a login. So we can have you play around a little bit with it. Any other questions? Okay, so on the website, so I was talking about the 24/7. So there's Ask the Tutor. And then there's what are called 24/7 resources. There's best sessions, interactive tutorials, and the lesson learning that I referenced earlier. And they're available all the time. And like, so you don't need to log in for that. So parents can, if you want to go on and work through it, or your student's asking you, if your child's asking a question, you're like, I vaguely remember doing that in grade 7. Let me take a look and see if I remember anything to help with the problem as well. So do we want, do you want to go through one? Yeah?
But I just wondered, do you want to have a look at it? Do you want to
Yeah,
take
do
a
you
few
guys
minutes to get onto the
we
computer
have
and
computers here that
see?
if you want to take
Yeah,
a
we've
look.
logged into all of them. So all you need to do is type in the website from your bookmark. We have a few that we can show you the video of it, or take 10 minutes.
We're 11:30, so why don't we
Yeah.
get you guys on, and then you can take a look at it, and I pulled out 3, one session, an interactive, a best session, and a lessons learned. Or if you have a device, you can always do that. So it's on the,
That way we're here to troubleshoot with you if you're unsure of the website.
yeah.
You want to try the website?
Yeah.
All right, does everyone have a bookmark with the link on it?
Yeah, the homework dot.
Got your bookmark? So I think, yeah, all of them except, I think this one computer
Yeah.
is working.
Yeah, we
So-
logged in everything, so you just need to go onto the website,
Yeah.
or onto the, so if you want to hop on a
Yeah,
computer,
grab a computer and
rather than us talking at you.
just find it, please. Oh, you're,
Yeah, so I am just
Okay.
waiting.
You don't want to play with one more time?
I might play.
Okay.
Because I'm here.
Leah, you know that it's been sort of,
Yeah.
it's March, with slate. Starting.
Are they shrinking one?
Yeah.
Let's pull it up. Voice depending on that.
Oh, that's okay. It's just a snapshot. So I brought my, I can see more handout stuff.
So, yeah, there's.
So I've just pulled up the website here. What you'll see once you get it up is this screen here. And then there's some resources here that,
Tutor schedules. Yeah, so
And
if
tutor
you,
schedules.
yeah, if you like a tutor, you can find out when they work. So those are the ones that are from 5:30 to 9:30, and these ones that are open all the time.
no, you're comfortable with, okay. You have a bookmark?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Did you have any questions about?
No.
Not really.
Yes, I'm working on that.
We're so lucky to
So
have
any of
this
these you
resource
get,
for
you
free.
can go to these.
It's
without
amazing.
logging in.
It's amazing.
And it's
So
grade
they're
7
offline
right now.
7 to
If you
10.
have been in a few times, you could see
Yeah.
what schedule they are. But if you want to see what's on there, you could
Yeah.
try any of them. Try best session, click on one of them and see what, try best session. So here are some sample sessions, like a whole bunch.
I can play one.
So what about bed mass?
Have you learned it yet?
Just order of operations. Does that sound familiar?
Click on.
So you might as well use
And
it.
I figured I have to use it anyway.
And if you look through them, they're the typical ones that students have problems
I
with.
figured, well, I use it, I've still got money left.
Yeah.
Other thing is called,
Worst case scenario is.
Wait for 2 years.
Yeah.
so this is new concept, so this is someone actually doing a lesson that students can, it's all about 8N plus 8.
Actually, I've never really, well, I logged in once, I think, but I wanted to.
It's great. I'm trying to get
So we look at, say, example decimals.
spend time in class to do this because
So these are what are called
research
tutorials.
shows that teachers
And
demonstrate
they're actually little lessons.
which makes sense, right? So,
And then you learn, so this is just about lessons, decimal numbers
going
1,
to really push that.
Oh, good job. And then you can learn some information, and then you walk through, and there's questions. So the students can actually do questions. So look at the 2 decimals, click the larger of the decimal numbers, and it tells you right away whether or not
$3 an hour.
At least, yes.
Hoping to pick a wrong
I
one.
don't know if you've read that yet, have you? The higher number that's.
So and it gives you a little, this is what you wrong, this is what you watch.
Just one question, you mentioned that if you like a particular teacher, right?
Yeah.
So then they can always work
Yes.
and before. I'm sure that.
So if you look at, on the main page,
Good money.
so you can, and there's a tutor schedule. So you can search for the tutor and they'll tell you when they want, so you want to hit that specific, go on that
We
thing.
can book a tutor ahead, like that's it.
No, you can't book ahead, you just have to go on.
If they are there.
We're working on it.
Yeah, so I would recommend
Good job.
that
We're working on it.
they, if it's, they start at 5:30 and that's 3 hours, they go on.
Yeah.
Like right away.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And are you okay with maybe waiting a little bit? Because that's the other thing sometimes, students get impatient about, it's like, well, if it's a queue, you have to, hopefully the person queues up in front of you, but you still have to queue up.
So approximately 9 to.
Depends on the room and depends, I had nights where I had like 6 kids in the queue in the line, and then other nights where it was just one person and then another person. But I think a lot of students do, because sometimes you sit there in the queue and then it's like, okay, you're up, and then they're like, you're sitting there and you're like, where are you? Do you have a question? And it took them minutes, so obviously they did something else. Well, they just set themselves up in the queue and then would do no work or something else, right? So just know this. Exactly. Put yourself in the queue. If you have to go into the queue, put yourself in there, and then while you're waiting to your just have it sitting there in front of you, right? Have it here in front of you, and just keep checking. And if you think the tutor isn't going to go, aren't you there? Nope, boom, gone, right? They'll wait a little bit. And they'll be like, where are you? Hello, do you have a question? Yeah, so just keep kind of watching it.
I have one more question, like maybe 3 friends have the same question, can 3 of them, like if you are teaching, the other 2 can also log in and listen to it?
Yes, so,
Solve it if you want.
yeah, so then what students sometimes do, some students don't ever ask a question. They just go from room to room and look for a question that they're curious about or that they maybe have a similar question. And yeah, you can see kids just,
Yeah, like at a time, if I'm, like they have 3 friends, but can they log in from their homes at the same time and listen to you, like teaching the same?
well, they would have to be talking to each other. They would be like, I'm in so-and-so's room, come to so-and-so's room, I'm in there right
And
now.
then they can
just watch.
Okay.
Yeah,
Some
so
kind of conference talk and then.
yeah, so they would, the tutor wouldn't manage that, the friends would have to
Friends,
all just.
they can manage, right?
Yeah,
To listen to
yeah,
you
just
solving
say, go
the same
into
problem.
Mr. Fixit's room, I'm in here right now and I'm asking this question. And then they just, so then Mr. Fix, I'd say this,
Yeah.
will be sitting there and they'll see 3 little heads, black heads.
No,
Right, and then the first one's asking the question and they're interacting with the first one. And the other 2 can't ask any questions or anything, they can just
they can
observe.
just listen.
Yeah, but then they could be texting their friend and going, hey, can you ask blah, 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 or something, right? So then they can manage, yeah, you can watch any of them.
That's good, instead of 3 asking and wasting your time, 3 can get
3,
together.
yes, and then they can all save that session if they want, right? So it's not only your
One,
session, you can save someone else's session that you're observing.
Yeah, or else if my friend is not available, I can save it and you can go back and.
I don't know if you can share what's in your locker.
So you can't snap and mark his.
That one I'm not sure about, but think about how you
Right, they'll figure out all different.
Yeah, it's a pretty savvy
Craig gets all the.
Yeah,
When they're busy
one,
right?
No, Craig is.
No, I actually, the only reason I
And
stopped doing
Mark
this, I
is
love
old.
doing this.
I would
just stopped
rather
because
get
it's just my kids,
into it.
my own children are so busy that I just couldn't sit it and I end up having to be driving
Join
down
in
the
the bandwagon.
But I love this thing, I think
It's challenging for teachers.
But it went over and it was.
Well, I don't think that the student, when does the student have the problem? Right, it always happens at
Yeah, I
7
really wish
o'clock
I could have come,
at night.
but
They finally pulled the book open and went, I don't do this, right? Always.
And then the book said,
Yes, right, away. My daughter would keep plugging away, and my son would go, done, right? Yeah, so, my son didn't really, he tried it a few times. He liked it, but he's not the sort of person that asks a lot of questions. My daughter does.
Yeah, it depends, yeah.
It's on,
There was a
yeah,
huge
yeah.
number of chairs. One does not quite one is so.
Yes, because my daughter's also someone
They'll
else.
always say to him, just go there, the access
What was okay with this was it was anonymous, right? So you don't feel like, he always say, I don't want to ask them, I don't want to feel stupid. That was what my son would always say.
that question okay to ask or they're reluctant to go.
Yeah, well, because they feel, yeah, so this.
so they've extended it a little
Nobody
bit,
knows.
because we were late
You're
getting
not
started. This session doesn't end until 10:30.
Right, so nobody knows.
11:30.
And it could be it.
So the next one won't
Yeah,
start
it took a while.
I'm just gonna give it a couple more minutes and see if there's any questions. And then there's a few other pieces of resources that we just wanted
Yes.
to share.
Yeah.
So that's
And what, yeah, these are math teachers, so they see, so I was a secondary teacher, right? So they said to me, what do you teach? And I said, this is my experience. I taught grade 7 years, like teacher, student teacher, but I was in grade 9, 10. Typically, that was my, so I only ever got put in grade 9 rooms because I really knew that curriculum. They wanted experts who had done a lot of teaching. So, like my husband's friend only does grade 7. So he knows, he's taught a lot of grade 7, he knows the curriculum inside out. So they want the tutors who really know the curriculum, who have taught it, so that when the student comes in, they see, oh, you're doing that typical problem that students do, I see it all the time, and then they know how to problem solve the student, because they know not only do they know the curriculum, they know what sort of questions students ask, they know where students go wrong. And they also know how to help get students back and show them ways. You only have one, you only interact with one student at a time. Yeah. So
Sometimes I have feelings that is that only one person, or somebody else, they are also interested in them too. Because I think, but I, being parent, and I sit over there, so I have the feeling that I feel only with my son is sitting there, only interested in that. Or totally others.
on this, no, it's just one, you're always just one. What they may be doing, because I remember there was one question, and it was a weird question, and I had something open to me going, I'm not quite, I was doing a little bit of research myself.
When you're on there, or
Quite
do you
sure,
have to just search
right?
every
It
word
was some
you say?
weird formula, I'm like, that's not
I
typical.
believe you have to search.
It was an extended curriculum.
Student just asks.
Yeah, so I might have seen
But
a little bit distracted because I was
great.
going,
Okay, so it is like
Yes,
grade
yeah,
three.
so
This is a weird
Laura
question.
might have been in the grade 9
But
room.
Oh.
So I
I'm
can see
only- I
grade
only
9
have
rooms
one
and I can look
person
notes,
asking.
or I can see
And
grade 10 rooms.
I'm only
Chances are they're
interacting with
probably
one
doing
student.
similar
I have
Some
some
watching,
watching
right?
but I only have one student, one tutor.
But because the question changes with each student that comes
Okay,
in.
yeah.
We got. So if we could just show you a couple of things and then you go back to playing if that's helpful. A couple of other resources that we have for you, and two things. So one, this link here is a link, it's a shortened URL to this presentation. So if you type goo.gl / the rest of that, it'll take you to this presentation, and then you can have access to all the information that that I was, well, mostly Laura was sharing with you, including these links and these resources. So what this is here are just other areas or other places you could go to gather some resources. Khan Academy, has anyone heard of Khan Academy? Okay, so there's lots there. It tends to be more traditional teaching, but there's all kinds of small lessons that you can go to, but definitely more the traditional type of instruction. Mathies. Mathies is a Ministry of Education website that has a whole bunch of math, almost games. There's games, there's simulations. So mathies.ca, but that link will take you there. And I find they're more used, they're accessed more often in grades like 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8. Not so much for grade 9 and 10, but still there are areas that can support there. So that's a great place to go to have some fun with math, and as well as to do some learning. EduGains is another ministry website that has resources available. If you're
is the leaps and bounds?
No, that's a purchase.
But there is some stuff in there.
Yeah, there's information about it, but that's a purchase resource.
For gap.
Gap closing, yeah. The gap closing is in there.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you're finding at home that there's a certain area, or your teacher has indicated that there's a certain area that the student may need some help with, there is also something in here for gap closing that would have some extra, some strategies for supporting learning some of the multiplication, or maybe it's about fractions. It always seems to come back to fractions. So there are some gap closing pieces in there. This is a link to the curriculum document. So if you're unsure of the content that's going on in the classroom, you just want to familiarize yourself a little bit with it, this will take you to the grade 1 to 8 math curriculum, and this will take you to the grade 9 and 10 math curriculum there. So there's some resources there. Any questions about that? Okay. I know for some students Khan Academy is a great resource. For other students it's not, because of the way that the instruction occurs. But Matthews is a great place to go and to play and to just have some fun. There's also some simulations there with money where you can pull the, just pull it up here. You can grab different, okay, here they all are. So there's games. These are the learning tools that I was referring to. Learning tools that if you're working with your student, I was trying to find the money one. There it is there. So you can either download or simply open it, count to 20, and then a money tray comes out. And so this lets you, if you're trying to figure out making change, if you're trying to understand how do dimes and quarters, how does it all come together, this just lets you pull money. That's a nice one to pull. It also lets you have a multiplier.
The 100.
I'll pull the multiplier of the 100. Yes, see, that's the way to do it. But so I've got, I'm taking 5 of them. You could ask, if I wanted to make 40 cents, how many ways can we do that? What are some options for that? So just some ways, and if you've got younger children at home, that might be another fun way to play with it. Some may, if I'm understanding multiplication, if I'm a multiplicative thinker, then I may understand that if I take 2 sets of 2 dimes, I've just made 40 cents, and that's some good thinking there. My child is recognizing that I can double that, and if I double again, I'm going to get it. So you can get a look into what's happening with their thinking.
The Geometry Sketchpad in there.
Geometry
so
Sketchpad.
That's a software that a lot of schools use, the teachers use, right?
Yep.
Around, so it's, I believe you can get it at home. Correct?
Yes. Yep. The and I believe so too. Yes, you can, because it's in here.
Yeah.
You can access this through the Matthews website, or your child's teacher could also
Give you the login information.
log in that in.
Yeah, and that's a lot. That's geometry angles.
Yes.
Right angles.
Yeah. And then some of the games, just to have a look at those. There we go. So you could play dominoes with integers, if you're learning, if integers are what you're working on. Where do I, well, that's a printing one, I just want to play. Where am I? So understanding number sense. So if I've got, let's just start this one.
And there is some overlap. I'm thinking that this one I've seen the math book. There's some overlap between the Edge Games and the Matthews website.
So I've just said, so my integer is between -10 and 10. When the game starts, you will choose one of 3 questions. So, here we go. Are you less than? So that what this does is it prompts students to start asking. So I've been told I'm between -10 and 10. This is the first question. So I want to ask, am I less than what? We're trying to figure out what the integer is. So I could say less than 0. Right? I would say 0 because right away now that's splitting my board into 2. So let's check. Yes, I'm less than 0. So then you can work with your student or your child and say, oh, okay, so it's less than 10. What does that mean? That means I'm going to be down here somewhere. You can. Am I greater than -5? Yeah. Good. No, I'm not great. So now that brings up, well, what does it mean to be greater than -5 or not greater than -5? I'm not greater than -5. So that means I've got to be down. Anyway, it takes you through some games to play. So great activities in there as well.
And they're typically activities that, based on concepts that students struggle with. Like this
Yes.
one, students really struggle with the negative.
And then once they're comfortable -10 to 10, it lets you extend it even further.
Who runs Matthews?
Ministry of Education.
Oh, okay.
And they're always updating it. That money tool is a relatively new one. They've also got more for younger grades, but they've got what we call a set tool. So getting, we've got the 10 frames to help students start to recognize what 10 is, and you can get students figuring out without actually counting how many items are there, right? That supervising piece there. And that was it. So again, you have access, if you wrote down that URL that I had, that we included there, you have access to the whole presentation. That's Laura's email back there. Tanya is, works.
And also, homework help, because of my role as the e-learning role, I also deal with the logins.
Right.
So if there's a login issue, you can,
So
not at
Lo-
night, during the day.
Laura and Tanya both work with the e-learning portfolio in Halton, so they would be the ones to contact. Myself, I'm Nicole, and Sharon is our board math coach. So she works in some of our secondary schools supporting grade 9 and 10 math. So if there was anything that was more math related, feel free to connect with one of us. Sharon doesn't know her name's up there, so she'd love to hear from her. But she would be happy to answer questions. Midnight's a good time. That's right, yeah. We're a very cohesive group. We work really well together. And were there any other questions about the resource, about online math? We always love talking math. Okay. Feel free to keep playing if you want, if there's any one-on-one questions you have. Just for the Parent Involvement Committee, they're always looking for ways to, if you've been to this before, ways to keep improving and doing better. So they've got a 2-minute quick survey, if you wouldn't mind filling that out. If you prefer, there is a QR code just on the outside of the door if anyone would prefer to do it with their device. We're happy to take that as well. But I have some, if you've got pens, that's great. I do have a little toolkit here if you're willing to fill it out and you need something to write with. And there's boatloads, perhaps not boatloads, but many bookmarks. So if you've got a few kids at home or you want to share these with anyone, please feel free to take some with you. Thank you. And we're happy to answer any questions that you may have still. Thank you. Take whatever you like, absolutely. Please don't trip on the cord though. I'm gonna move this back.
With the should be happy.
Yeah, share with your friends.
Laura, did you put this down? Okay.
Yeah, homework out, so that if they start having more kids log in, they have to sign more teachers.
We have any teachers.
Sorry?
You just walked in.
Oh, hi, welcome.
Just to let everybody know, it's the 10-minute warning. There's 10 minutes remaining in session A. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm supposed to
So one,
I use the QR.
you've got one. Oh, you use the QR code,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, so this is a, I'm gonna write the, yeah, so I'm gonna give you that, let me just write down the, QR, or the,
I'll be finishing at 3:30.
So we did a presentation. I'm going to write down the URL for you on the bookmark. So this website here takes you to the website. I think it's free. There are real math teachers that are online during the times that are available to ask questions. So students can log in with their OEN number, which they get from their teachers. And it's all in here. And this. So you never know what you get from the internet. You want to take like a something. Okay, that works too.
There's a math.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so these are additional resources. This link will take you to this presentation here that will have some information. This is the website for Homework Help that your daughter just took my that she could go to. And it's for anyone in grade 7 to 10. She takes math right now.
She's in grade 1 and she's in Happy, so we got some.
Okay, yeah, so she can access it. This is the same link that's there, just for you to have a look at.
And then, is the breakfast or like.
Well, we'll see.
But it's also transition to actually engineering. Her teacher.
So it was like a bi-weekly.
She's saying that what.
So we still
Oh.
have to pay. But she's still
Still
going to the workshops. So we go to a math program.
I mean, still, the program taking academic,
And then we just.
the same as the regular.
We always get.